Hello, guys, and I'm glad to meet you and welcome you to NextGen GPT AI Hackathon with Clarifai that we're opening today. It will be 10 days long hackathon, and I'm happy to guide you through the process of this hackathon. I see that we have already a bunch of people on our Twitch channel, and you will still have time to join as well and to see the sessions. And quick reminder that all of you will be able to see the session in record after it will finish. So you will be able to check all the sessions that we'll have today, and we'll have a bunch of workshops and openings, and you will be able to check it afterwards. And now I'm Alicia, and I will guide you through this process, and also I will be your Twitch advocate. So if you have any questions to our speakers, and we'll have a lot of them today, feel free to write them down on a Twitch channel, and I will be just addressing them to our speakers today. When it comes to event schedule for this hackathon, and mainly for today's stream, we're kicking off now with our opening and guide through the hackathon challenge, prizes, and rules for the hackathon you have to know. Then we'll have a tour of the Clarifai with Nicholas, and from Clarifai, he will be guiding us through the platform, mainly opening the hackathon, and the detailed guide on the platform will happen afterwards with our tutorials and workshops that will have as other Clarifai folks. And then we will be going to the hackathon guide and platform walkthrough, where I will be showing you how the platform looks like and what the main functions you need to know before you will kick off your hackathon journey. Then we'll have a tonic opening and a bit of tonic walkthrough to understand how the platform works and how you can use tonic AI product basically the fake data for your RAG applications. And then we will be going to the two workshops that we'll have today, and one will be Clarify with multi-model models that you will be using for the hackathon, and then it will be GPT for vision app building with Clarify. That workshops was coming along today during the kickoff stream, and then we'll finish with general Q&A session already in Discord. So after we'll finish up with all the sessions, you will be able to take a few minutes break and then ask mentors any questions you still might have to them before you will start your team formation process. And then on January 22nd, on Monday, we'll have a deadline for your submissions. That's it when it comes to the schedule. And I just wanted to mention that we are here as a part of LabLab.ai platform that offers you community of AI developers that are building their AI-driven applications and applications utilizing the latest AI tools. And I'm happy that all of you now are the part of this community. So welcome you all. And now I'd love to introduce our partners for this hackathon, and then we'll have an openings from partners. When it comes to Clarifai, Clarifai is a main co-sponsor, co-partner for this hackathon. They offer a full-stack deep learning platform for building your production-ready AI applications. And on Clarifai, you can find a lot of AI models that will be useful for your apps. And I would just recommend you to go through to the Clarifai and discover it yourself. And by the way, people that want to participate in this hackathon must have Clarifai account. And we do ask you to make this account on the same email that's your lablab.ai account. Hence, we will be able to approve you for this hackathon. People that will not create their Clarifai account can now be approved to the hackathon. So just know that you have done this already, or you will be doing this over the next few hours. So we will be able to approve you promptly, and you will have no barriers to create your team and start building over the hackathon. And here we prepared for you a quick guide on how you should create your profile and how you will be accepted to this hackathon if you are not accepted already. So when it comes to the registration itself, I will show you on the platform how it should look like from the user perspective, but I hope you already saw this yourself. So you register on lablab.ai with your own email, and then you're joining the hackathon. After that, you create your Clarifai account using the same email that you used for LabLab registration. In that way, we can track that you already registered to LabLab Hackathon. After that, we will run a manual process on our side to give you a specific hackathon plan for Clarifai and also to approve you on the platform. This process may take time, and we are usually doing 2 or 1 check every day. So we are saying that it's up to 36 hours that you will be approved from the moment you registered. And if it takes longer, just make sure that you created your account first and then contacted our team to check the status of your application and of your registration. And after that, just know that approval and hackathon registration will be closed on January 17th, which is next Wednesday, at 6 p.m. CET time. It's basically the time we are having the hackathon now. So after that time, we will not be able to approve any new team members you might have or any new hackathon participants that want to explore and join the hackathon. Then we go to the next partner of this hackathon. It's Tonic AI. Tonic AI offers fake data, as they love to say this, for your solutions, and that would be extremely useful for some of your projects that needs this fake data to be trained on or to be used in your projects. And we're eager to have today Tonic AI team to make a bit of intro and also to run us through the platform, so you will know more on how to use their product for this hackathon. And also Tonic have specific challenge for this hack, and I will also introduce you to this challenge later in the challenge and prizes part of this pitch. And now I'm super happy to invite Nicholas Spies. He is the VP of Sales Engineering at Clarifai, and he's joining us today to introduce Clarifai to you. Nicholas, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Alicia. Many challengers and many presenters today, and I get to be the first victim. It's nice to meet everyone. Welcome to this GPT Hackathon with Clarifai and Tonic. As Alicia mentioned, I am Nick Spies, recently joined at Clarifai. I'm very happy to be here and see the kind of work that you folks are doing in the industry. This is your opportunity to take Clarify as a platform and Tonic as a platform and combine our capabilities to build a giant GPT model and integrate that into a potential solution. Take this opportunity as a challenge to learn new technologies, experiment, play with new stuff, and do all of that under the very watchful eye of our experts here at Clarifai and Tonic. And speaking of that, there are a couple of folks we should probably thank for getting this whole thing put together. First of all, I'd like to thank the marketing teams at Tonic and Clarifai for putting their things together, and the experts from both companies who joined on, both Joe and Sanwal, who will get us through to the technical stuff, as well as Alicia, our notorious MC, leading us through the process. And last but not least, all of you guys. Thanks so much for coming on, making these hackathons useful, doing things for the community. We love it and we appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about what Clarifai actually is and why you should care about that. Alicia, can you see my screen okay? Outstanding. I'm getting the nod. So, folks, welcome to Clarifai. This is as complicated as it gets. This is our portal. In the upper right-hand side of our portal, I'm going to show you the first thing I learned when I joined Clarifai, and that's where the help is. The little question mark with a circle around it is your beginning jump-off point for any questions you might have at Clarifai. If you're not on a hackathon with experts waiting to answer your questions, this is where we still live. Things like documentation, contact us, quick start guides, hands-on labs, all of that is accessible right there in that menu. If you have questions, keep that bookmarked. It'll be helpful later, I promise. In the right corner, this is a place you shouldn't need to use during this hackathon. If you do, you probably should click that help button first. But if there are different organizations that your account is a part of, if there are settings in your account that need to be tweaked, you will find those in your initials in the upper right. The bulk of the Clarifai platform is focused on artificial intelligence and ML ops workflows. So we focus here in these 5 tabs right in the middle of the screen here. Couple things. We have featured models in our community page. These are models that you've heard all about in Google. You've heard them all about on the latest news and groups on artificial intelligence, things like ChatGPT-4, things like Turbo. All of these models are presented in the Clarifai platform, and you can engage with them without deploying a bunch of code and a bunch of nonsense. You just get right to the work. If you don't want to look at just our featured, but you want to see all of our models, we give you a button for that too. We make it nice and simple. You can scroll through some of the latest and greatest models on our platform. This does get a little congested, so what we recommend are using these filters on the right-hand side. If you want to look at just some of the LLMs that are available in Clarifai, or you want to look just at some of the image generation models that are just in Clarifai, we've given you some filters, some very fast ways of getting to those folks and using those folks. So, in the model world, we also have workflows. Sanwal, my expert from Clarifai, will get a little bit more into workflows in the future. I will show you one of those in just a second. And finally, our modules, which is the sort of a way to create a very rapid prototype front end for any model using Streamlit, a very open source and easy to use Python library. So Clarifai gives you a way to very quickly bring in inputs, train models, validate those inputs in those models, and then put those models into production, doing real things for real problem sets. That's the Clarifai promise. Let's take a look at some of those models. That's the fun stuff. We'll start with ChatGPT-4. I have not tried any of these prompts, so hopefully I don't end up getting myself into trouble. I did pre-type them, but I haven't pre-tried them. This could be interesting. Let's see how many acres are in the national parks in the United States. So we can go to that model, we type in our prompt, we hit generate, and now the system is going to take this prompt, pass it off to ChatGPT-4 Turbo, and give us a response on how many acres there are in the national parks. Behind the scenes, Clarifai is doing all of the model deployment and work and computation on the back end without needing you to build all of that. All you're doing is sending a prompt to a model and getting a response. And this says, as of my last update, the U.S. National Park System covers more than 84 million acres across the country, including all national parks and areas managed by the National Park Service. This is a very thorough answer, and I'm glad I chose that prompt. Could have gone many ways, but that one went very, very well. We also have image generation models that are built in. You can see here, I chose to say a money tree to see what DALL-E 3 would give us. And that is indeed a money tree. I wish I had one in my backyard instead of on my desktop. If you wanted to compare different image generation models, again, Clarifai has access to many different models. We can use a different model, but give it the same exact prompt. and actually treat this kind of like a battleground for not just image generation, but also for LLMs, for computer vision problems. Uh, because Clarifai is able to deploy models inside of our platform very easily, you can in parallel test multiple models for efficacy in your use case. And then finally, we have things like demographic recognition. Models like this are able to take the individual here and give us a probability of what age that individual is likely to be. This shows us 0.479%, so just about 48% chance this person is in his 60s. The problem with a lot of workflows and models like this is that we don't have perfect cropped photos to give to a lot of these models to get these results. This is the other thing that Clarifai does better than anybody on the market today, is allowing you to chain models together into a workflow. So for example, if we really wanted to keep this demographic age platform alive, but we knew we weren't going to have imagery that was this good all the time, we could simply create a workflow that chain multiple models together, as you can see on the right, and Sunwall will explain all about this editor on his session, that simply takes the photograph we had, identifies the face and crops it beneath it, and gives us probability for all of that individual's demographics. Really, really powerful. Not only does it recognize his face and crop it accurately, it also increased the probability of the 60 to 69-year-old category because now we have other demographics to feed into it. Super powerful platforms, super powerful capabilities, and they only exist so you can solve bigger and better problems. That's all of my time. I'll hand it back to Alicia right at 12:15, trying to keep you on schedule as the first victim. Folks, enjoy the hackathon. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot for this inspired talk. And now even I'm excited to discover more about Clarifai, even though I know already about the platform. Looking forward to having more sessions about the platform and how different models can be integrated and work together in workflows, which is really excited. And before that, let me introduce you to the rules of this hackathon so you guys can discover it also yourself. So let's go to the challenge part. And so basically what you have to build over this 10 days hack. So the challenge you have is to create your own AI applications using one or a few of listed models, which is GPT-4 Turbo, GPT-4 Vision, image generation DALL-E API, and text-to-speech model with Clarifai platform, which is a critical part here, because if you are not using them with Clarifai, your product cannot be counted to the evaluation part. And also, we don't limit you when it comes to any use cases, industry, or application of the models or functionality of your app. You're completely free at this point to decide what you want to do with your project or which idea you want to implement. But the most critical part is the models you have to use and also the platform, the Clarifai platform that you have to choose for building your solution. And also note that you can use any other models as well in addition to those. But just know that at least one of these models should be used in your solution. And also we have one more specific challenge for this hackathon, which is challenge from one of our partners, Tonic AI. This challenge has its own price and it's strongly about one of the product of Tonic, which is Tonic Validate. So for those that will be using Tonic Validate in their projects to access RAG solutions accuracy, as you see now on the screen, they will be eligible to take part in this challenge, and then the best one will win $500 in cash prize in addition to your main hackathon prize. So make sure you checked out all the materials we left to you on our event page, and you'll be able to take part in this challenge too. And then when it comes to the success criteria, we have a few of them, and all of them already duplicated to our lablab.ai event page of this hackathon. And I will just go quickly through of them so you will have an idea what will be our main criteria to evaluate your project. So first of all, ensure your project uses at least one of listed technologies that I listed before through Clarifai API. That's the must. Then we go to the Clarifai UI model that you have to use to deploy your application. And it's critical as well for this hackathon to have a higher spot on the evaluation pipeline. And then we go to the make sure to share your source code. So basically all the materials you created over the hackathon, make sure to share them with us. And in the following points, there is information regarding your source code, so basically GitHub, and then we go to your project documentation, and the best way to do this is basically GitHub README. As well, make sure to describe it well on our submission page, and also create a demo showcasing your project video where you will be explaining everything that we need to know about your solution. And that just one more reminder that you still can join the hackathon if you weren't approved before. The people that were registered over last day will be approved today during the stream or after the stream in the next hour. So make sure that you're checking your emails or checking the platform functions that are available for you, and I will show you different views today a bit later. And you will be able to join the hackathon as well if you haven't registered before, and you still have time till Wednesday. So make sure that you're registering on LabLab and also registering on Clarifai platform, and you will be able to be accepted quite quickly and start building your product. And the rules that I read before already are on the screen, so you can check them anytime. And we also have tutorials for you. We have tutorials that will help you to kickstart your hackathon journey and also start with Clarifai and have a bit of test of your skills before you will be building your own product. Then you can find on our lablab/t page with tutorials for Clarifai. And also we have video from Paolo, from one of our mentor leads, about all the models that OpenAI released that we'll be using for this hackathon, and Clarifai platform. So it will be helpful for you if you're a beginner or let's say intermediate and you want to have an overview on all the models we'll be using for this hackathon. That should be helpful, so we recommend you to check it out. And then the hackathon prizes. When it comes to hackathon prizes, you might see them on the screen, and also you may check them already on the event page. So we will have 3 winners that will get a cash prize and a Clarifai credits as a prize, and then 3 more finalists that will get a Clarifai talk kit. And also in addition to this, you have a Tonic AI challenge that will be awarded additionally to the main hackathon prizes. Moving on, I'd love to have a huge thank moment for our mentor leads and also way more mentors that will be working with you over this hackathon, answering all your questions you might have regarding the models, regarding your idea. They're helping you to evaluate your solutions, and they are the first people that are having a look on your projects and helping you to make them better. So thank you all guys for being with us and helping our participants to make a greater project at this hackathon. And now it's the time for the platform walkthrough. So now I'd love to share my screen, and I will be able to show you how the platform looks like from the user perspective and what should you do once you just registered. I will need you guys to let me know if it's working well. Looks like it is. Max, please confirm to me that people can see my screen. Great, thank you. So once you registered to the hackathon, you will have this view. And you already see that you're waiting for approval when it comes to your applications. Maybe I will zoom a bit so you can see everything better. Hope it's better. And then you have all the information you might need for your hackathon projects, for material that you need to prepare with. Like anything you need regarding the hackathon is already on the page. So we start with the component regarding Clarifai with a sign-up link. So from there you can start your preparation to your hackathon approval. So after you registered, you have to sign up to Clarifai to be approved as well. So make sure to do that step. Then you go to the materials we prepared for you and this Paolo's video and tutorials I mentioned in the presentation. Then we have a component regarding Clarifai benefits that I recommend you to check out and to know with which functions you will be the most in touch during this hack. Then we have component regarding Tonic, and that component will allow you to try Tonic Validate that will be used for Tonic Challenge. So check it out as well. Then we go to the Hackathon challenge description with the list of models that will be used for this hackathon, and the one that's required and the one that's optional. We have information about Tonic AI data challenge and prizes list. We have submissions guidelines that I mentioned to you before, so we can check them out and make sure that your projects respond to these guidelines. And then we have models that you will be using for this hackathon with the link to relevant materials to get started and the judging criteria. As well, we have Clarifai onboarding component with the links and videos you will need to get started with Clarifai. And as well, a bit of information regarding the acceleration program, regarding our mentors and speakers that will be for this hackathon, and event schedule. And after that, you have the list of all the teams that you can join, or one of the teams might be yours. After you click on complete your registration, you see this component that helps you to proceed with your registration to the hackathon. So you know that you already registered and now you have to sign up to Clarifai to be able to participate in this hackathon. After you will be approved, you will have the next view that I'm just showing you here. So hence you clicking on the button. Let me show it to you again. If you're clicking to this button and you're having this view, it means that you already approved. Even if you haven't seen the email yet, it means that you already have access to the platform and you can start with creating your team or with maybe making looking for the team you can join. So the teams you can filter by the number of members, by the time zones you want to choose, or the background you have, and you could potentially contribute in the team with the background. After that, you can create your own team. When it comes to your own team, you can just quickly click on the button that I just did, and you enter all the details regarding your team, and you will get to the team page that I will show you now. I'm showing you the example of another hackathon, hence I'm already taking part in the Clarifai hackathon, so I will not be able to show to you my user's view. Let me pick any other hackathon so I can show you how the team page looks like. Perfect. So once you have your team page, you're able to have a bit of more functions that usual participants. So you are the team leader of your team if it's a single team member, or you can choose team leader if you have a few members in your team. You can join the team if you enter somebody else's team page. You can submit your project through this button in the end of the hackathon. And you can also change your team description or team image if you want to. And also showing you an example of team with a few members, you also are able to basically create a communication channel for your team. Here it is. For some reason, I can see this button here. Maybe it's because the hackathon is not active yet. So after you have more than 2 team members and you're the part of this team, maybe let me try to join the team. You are able to create a communication channel for your team on Discord. It will be the automatic channel that will be created by our bot that we have. And in this channels, you can communicate with your team members or with mentors that also have access to them. That's it when it comes to the platform walkthrough. And with that, I'd love to check out if you have any questions regarding the platform here on our Twitch chat. There is nothing specifically regarding the platform. So I'm happy to pass the word to Tonic AI team that is already here waiting to get started with intro to their platform. So happy to have today Adam Kammer. He's a co-founder of Tonic, and also Joe Ferreira, who is a senior AI scientist at Tonic AI. And Joe also is a mentor for this hackathon, so he will be in touch with you during all the time of the hackathon. So I'm happy to pass the scene to you guys.
Hello, thank you for having us today. We're very excited to be here, and thank you to our partners, Clarifai AI, for your introduction and demo. I really enjoyed seeing the platform. So, for those that don't know who Tonic is the fake data company. We help individuals and organizations generate synthetic or fake data for the use in lower environments, typically for development and testing, but also for data science and machine learning use cases. But we're actually not here to talk about that today. What we're talking about today is one of our newest offerings, Tonic Validate. It's available, and if you're going to participate in our hackathon, you'll need to create an account at validate.tonic.ai. And Joe, in a few minutes, is going to show around the website. So, Tonic Validate is a solution to evaluating RAG systems. So, for those of you that know what a RAG system is, or for those that don't, rather, a RAG system is a way to answer questions about large data sets, large corpuses of text that wouldn't, all fit into the context window of a large language model. So you can use a RAG system to find just the pieces of relevant information to build the perfect prompt to send to a large language model to get a good answer. But there's this problem. The problem is, how do you know you're getting good answers from your RAG system? Or more importantly, how do you know your answers are staying good and relevant over time as your system changes? Well, Tonic Validate helps answer that question. We monitor your RAG systems, constantly evaluating their performance to ensure that you're always getting optimal answers. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Joe to give a very quick demo.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. And thanks to all the organizers. I'm super stoked to be participating in this hackathon as a mentor. Let me share my screen to do this demo. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is the first page you would see if you sign up for an account, a Tonic Validate account. So I can show what it looks like when you first sign up. So if you go to validate.tonic.ai, you can sign up for an account, and then after you sign up for an account, you will sign in. So I can show how to get started with Tonic Validate. So as Adam mentioned, Tonic Validate is for improving your RAG system. So if you're building a RAG system or RAG application and you want to improve the quality of the answers of your RAG application, then Tonic Validate provides metrics and a way to track experiments that you do. So let's see how we can do that in a super simple example that I'm going to show in this getting started workflow. And then I'm going to show what Tonic Validate looks like after I've used it for a little bit and done a couple different projects. Cool. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is create an API key. So I'm going to do that here, give it a name, Joe's API key. And then you copy this API key. So in clipboard, saving it here. Okay, then you create a project. So a project is, you would create one project for each RAG application that you're building. And once you have a project, we give you this code snippet. So the way Tonic Validate works is you're developing your RAG application in a Python environment. So let's say you're working in a Jupyter notebook and you're using a large language model through an API like GPT-4. So let's say you're using GPT-4 for your RAG application. You're working in a Jupyter notebook, calling GPT-4 as the LLM for your RAG system. Then you're going to ask questions to your RAG system and get answers, and you want to evaluate those answers. So to evaluate them, you log them to Tonic Validate, and Tonic Validate will score them and then display the scores in the UI. So this is a code snippet that I'm going to copy that will allow me to log a test question and answer to Tonic Validate. So let me click done here. And then I'm going to go into my Jupyter notebook where I'm developing my RAG system. And I'm going to paste that code snippet. Now, to use Tonic Validate in your Jupyter notebook, you need to install the Python package, also called Tonic Validate, which you can install via pip install Tonic Validate. Okay, so now to run this code snippet, I need to paste in my API key here. So I'm going to go get the API key, paste it in, and then I need to put my project ID here. So it's going to log to my project. So I go back in here, click on my demo project, and I got my project ID right here, which I'll copy, paste. Paste that right here. Okay, and so now I'll run this cell, and hopefully it'll work. But let's go through what this cell is doing. Okay, cool, it worked. So I've imported some stuff from Tonic Validate, and then I've created what's called a benchmark. So a benchmark is your set of questions and answers that are your test set for your RAG application. So in this case, I have one question and one answer. The question is, what's the capital of France? The answer is Paris. So in this case, you can put a list of questions here, which would be your set of test questions and then you put a list of answers here. In my case, I have one question, one answer, and your answers that you put here are your correct answers. So the answers that your RAG system produces to these questions will then be graded as comparing to these correct answers. Then I iterate over the questions in the benchmark, and I get the responses. So where these comments are here is where you would input the questions in your benchmark to your RAG system and get the actual answers. Just for this getting started flow, I'm not doing that. I'm just using a dummy answer here. So the dummy answer is the same as the reference answer, Paris. And then what's the difference between using a RAG system and just using LLM itself? The difference is the RAG system gives you a retrieved context. So when a RAG system answers questions, it retrieves context that is pulling from your database of data that's driving the RAG system that the LLM is then going to use to answer the question. So in this case, the context, you feed tonic validate the answer and the context. So in this case, the context that's retrieved, this is some dummy context, is that Paris is the capital of France. And then down here, you specify which metrics from tonic validate you want to score this answer with. In this case, we're using the two metrics, answer consistency and augmentation accuracy. And then these lines here upload those scores in this question and answer to tonic validate. So let's go into tonic validate and see how that happens. So let me reload this page. This is that project, Joe's demo project. You can see I've done one run here where I have one score uploaded. So when you go through your benchmark and pass things over to tonic validate, you get something called a run. And that shows in here, it shows you the two scores that were calculated, answer consistency and augmentation accuracy. The question that was asked, what's the capital of France? The reference correct answer, the LLM response, and then the retrieved context. Okay, so that was a really quick, simple example just to show you how to get started. Now I'm going to show you, and before I do that, let me first, I'm going to show you what it looks like after you've actually used tonic validate a little bit. Let me just show the GitHub. So this is the GitHub for tonic validate. This GitHub has information about the metrics that are in tonic validate. These are the metrics, what they measure in terms of your RAG system and what the metrics mean. And this shows you how to use tonic validate. Cool. Now let me stop sharing the screen and I'm going to share a different screen real quick, where I've logged into an account on tonic validate where I have more data to show. Okay, so let's see. Okay, cool. I'm sharing the room. Okay, so now in this account on tonic validate, I have two projects. I have a project called Polygram Essays and a project called Documentation RAG. Let's look at this Polygram Essays project. So in this case, I created a RAG system where the data is blogs by Polygram, and I have a set of 10 questions I'm asking about it. And here I've done a bunch of different runs, and you can see that the overall score is getting better over time. And so you can see that this shows how you can track how scores change over time. And if I click on one of the runs, you can see the different scores. Histograms are the scores for that run, and the questions, answers, and retrieved context on the right. Okay, so I will wrap it up there. Stop screen sharing and pass it on to who's going to go next.
I guess it's passed back to me, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much for the presentation and answering the questions we had already in the chat. Tonic AI is optional technology for the hackathon. It's not a must for your project, but we have an additional category for the challenge for them, first of all. And also you might use them if you will need their service and the fake data for your projects for sure. And also just reminder that it's a huge benefit for you to use not the project, I'm sorry, but the products and also the the technologies of our partners, not just because they are partners of the hackathon, but also because they are available over our Discord and channels across all the hackathon, and you're able to have direct communication with them. And what's the better way to learn the technology than practicing with this a lot and also have the constant mentor support? So it's a great opportunity that you can take, and we do recommend you to do so. Let me just double check other questions we have here. Okay. That was a bit of chat here. And it's not okay. There is a question. If we want to win, is it recommended? It will not impact on your final score, the usage of Tonic AI. I mean, hence the success criteria that were already listed before and that are on our website. They don't say that Tonic AI will impact on your final evaluation of your application or the place you could take, but it will impact on the Tonic AI challenge itself, of course. All the rest is, I'm sure, is answered. And okay, I see that no more questions are regarding Tonic AI that we could answer right now, and all the rest will be moved to the Q&A session that we will have in couple of hours, I believe in 2 hours on our Discord. And with that, I'd love to invite the next speaker for now that will be presenting already multi-model model showcase with Clarifai. So you will be able to have a dive into Clarifai platform and already get started. Tanwal, please let me know if you can hear me and if you're able to present already.
Yep, I'm good to present. Let me know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, so let me just give it an intro. That's Tanwal Yusuf. He's a sales engineer at Clarifai, and he will be doing a diving into Clarifai multi-model capabilities, and we'd love to see what you have for us. The stage is
All right,
yours.
thank you. Yep, thank you so much, Alicia. Let me just bring up my screen. Let me know if you guys can see this Chrome browser with Clarifai loaded up.
Yeah, it looks great for us.
All right, great. So thank you guys. Thank you for your time and bringing me on. I'm Samuel Yusuf. I'm one of the sales or solutions engineer here at Clarifai. Been here for about 4 years and seen the platform change and develop over time. And I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with at the end of this hackathon. So as Alicia walked you through and Nick introduced you, once you sign up for Clarifai, you will end up in a platform or a UI that looks like this. And to think of Clarifai, you can think of it as having two facets or two interaction points. One is our UI, where we are right now. The other is our API, which I presume you guys will be using quite a lot over the course of this hackathon. Now, you can anything you can do in the one, you can do in the other. So if you do anything in this UI, so if I click this app, there's an endpoint to do that in the API, and it's all documented on docs. .clarifai.com. So once you've logged in, the simplest thing you can do is go ahead with our community models, and saw a little bit of this as Nick was kind of walking through his introduction. And community, you can think of it as a repository of Clarifai models and open source models that we have imported. And we have upwards of 500 plus of them. So we'll walk through to our main characters of interest, the GPTs and so on, but we have our own, for example, Clarifai models that can do various things. And we deal with the models that we have deal with images, audio, video, and text. And we treat video as a sequence of images. So any image model can be used on a video as well. So the largest model that we have that is Clarifai trained is our image recognition model. And it is trained to identify close to 10,000 concepts, and it has been trained on about 20 million images. And the way, just to kind of understand its power, you can see it right now, it is being fed this image of a savanna in a nature setting. So you will see it's putting out all these tags on the right-hand side. It's wildlife, elephant, and so on. And we're giving confidence values for them. The model is 99% confident that this is wildlife, and it is sorted in a descending order. And this is returned in a JSON object. So anytime you hit the API, you will be returned a JSON object. So you'll just have to parse it to do anything that you want to do with it. The general image model, if we provided a completely different image, you will notice that it has completely shifted its context. So now instead of giving it nature tags, it's giving us new tags, that is fashion, business, and so on. And then we give it a completely new thing. It has now switched its context to food. And we're giving food-related things such as burger, unhealthy, delicious, fast. And then if we throw the last curveball, we'll see that it is now starting to give us tags on car, dashboard, vehicle, and so on. And at any point, if you want to use a pre-trained model or a custom trained model, under the model card, that is this page right here, or a similar page, you can always get the code for it by going to use model. When I hit the model, it has just generated this code for me. That most of the time, that's what I'm doing, is I'm just copy pasting the code. And you can select your language. It's going to assume most of you will be using Python. And that is an example of one model. We also have other models. Let's just take a look at another quick model, and that is the image detection model, which is similar to what I just showed you, but instead of just doing simple classifications, it is also now doing detections. So if you remember this image, this is the same exact image. Instead of now just giving us contextless tags, it's actually putting bounding boxes on what it sees. So for example, this shirt is coming up with the highest tag value of 76% for the shirt. And if we wanted to filter it based on prediction thresholds, we can play with these values and adjust it as needed. Now, if we go back to community, we can take a look as a list on all the models that we have. And as I was mentioning, there are about 500 plus of them. And there's two ways to filter these models. Obviously, you can always search for them. But if you wanted to, you can also filter for them. So for example, if you know the model type that you're looking for, so if, for example, I'm looking for all the visual detectors, I can just filter for that and then get back all the visual detectors that I have. And in each of these model cards, you will have the code that you need to run them. And then similarly, let's get rid of this filter. If we wanted to look at our large language models, LLMs, this is where we can get all of our LLMs. We have most of the big ones wrapped up as an API endpoint. And the reason to use them in Clarifai and maybe not your traditional OpenAI API calls is that you can start pairing it with other models to generate insights. So all within like one UI. So for example, I'll give you an example, quick example of something that our customers are using these generative models for is to do on-the-fly moderation. So they're using our pre-trained models, but then also doing prompting with GPT-4 and the like to build on-the-fly moderation models, and you can start pairing them in a workflow. Let's look at GPT-4 right here, which I actually have loaded up because I didn't want us to wait for it to give us a prediction. Once you load up GPT-4, you will have a model card page like this. I'm giving it a very simple prompt. I'm saying you're a children's story writer. Write a story about a red panda journeying in an enchanted forest. Now, this text is what it's returned to me, and I read it and it looks pretty good. And this text itself would also be returned in a JSON object. Now, if you wanted to do some high-level prompt engineering, you could, for example, give it you are a whimsical, right? We're going to give this whimsical children's story writer. And then if you wanted to give it these, change any of these things, we could do that, and we just generate. Now, while that is generating, we can take a look at something over here that Samarth is going to go later on, and that is our modules. And before we even get to that, actually, we have some pre-built modules, and modules are just Streamlit applications. So any Streamlit code that you can write, you can have it be hosted on Clarifai, essentially, and build your own custom UIs. So we have some pre-built modules. We're actually going to take a look at one in just a minute. That is the LLM Battleground module, and compare some LLMs. And so any of these, if you wanted to, for example, deploy them into a specific application, all you have to do is just hit install module and select the app that you want to do this in. I already have this installed, so I'm not going to do it, but it's very simple. Your simple installation is going to ask you to install and walk you through a screen. And I mentioned apps. Apps are, you can think of them as containers within Clarifai. So think of Clarifai as your larger cloud and apps as your containers. And apps are very relevant when you're building your own custom workflows, custom models. And that's how you kind of isolate different parts of Clarifai. Let's see if it's, yeah, so it has actually generated, if we go back to GPT-4, it's generated that new story with the edited prompt of you're a whimsical children's story writer. And then once you're ready, you can always, once again, just get your model code and put it into your notebooks, into your scripts, and not have to think about how to, once again, figure out which proper endpoints to call, because we'll give you all of them in this one place. Now, sorry for that weird aside. I was just taking us through a custom module that I had built up, which is just a Streamlit application, which within an application you can install, and someone is going to walk us through that. So I'm not going to take us down that road. So this is a simple Streamlit module, and as I was mentioning, why use Clarifai for any of these LLMs and generative models when you can just use them out in the open? And this is, I think, where you'll start seeing that. This is, so the context for this module that I built is that we generate an image through Stable Diffusion, but then also pair it with our general image recognition model, the one that we saw, and additionally pair it with a captioner. So I have given it the same kind of prompt, a red panda journeying in an enchanted forest. And I can select, and you can add as many models. I was just making it for a quick demo purpose, so I just selected 2 models. So I'm going to have Stable Diffusion generate this image and feed it to our general image recognition model and our general captioning model. And all this is essentially just a way for us to organize things in one place. So this is this red panda image going through a forest on some sort of a journey. And now we can get the caption for it as well, which is a use case actively used by some of our digital asset management clients, because they're generating images and simultaneously captioning them and then storing them with other tags. So it's going to make us all these tags right here: animal, parrot, swimming, and so on. And then if I wanted to generate a new image, I can just say, let's just say, warm Sunday afternoon by the river. Have it generate a new image. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to generate the image, and on the fly, it's going to label the images for us and generate captions as well. So image generated successfully. We can see this is the interpretation of Stable Diffusion of a warm Sunday night by the river, or Sunday afternoon by the river. And obviously this prompt can be very much optimized, much more than it is right now. This is very basic prompt. And then oil painting of a couple on a boat, which is not untrue. And then we can see further tags being generated. And this is an example, a very basic example of what you can do with the Streamlit modules. And Streamlit modules are very, very dynamic, and I've seen some incredible things built with them. So people who are better programmers than I am, I think, and generate a lot of interesting things all within one unified UI. Now, I had mentioned something, if you allow me to go back, that is this LLM Battleground. Now, one of the problems that I have seen in kind of the open business space is that customers are looking to figure out what is the better LLM for them, right? And there's no like clear unified way of just comparing them. So we used a Streamlit we built a Streamlit module, which I think I have loaded up over here. So this is installed into an application. Once again, I'm not going to walk through that. We'll walk through that in a much more detailed way. Is where you can select from all the LLM models that we have within our platform. So in your hackathon journey, if you wanted to figure out which LLM that you want to use or how they would compare against each other, you can just select one or multiple. You'll have to, number one, install the Streamlit into your Streamlit app into an application for yourself, and then select all the relevant LLMs you want to test out. I have just gone with the default ones. That's GPT-4 Cloud and Llama 2 13B. And I had it generate stories, the same prompt for three, which is just generate a children's story about a red panda in an enchanted forest. So, and then we can compare these right away. Like this is the output from GPT-4. Additionally, this is the output from Cloud V2, which seems like Claude V2, not Cloud, Claude V2, which is not as detailed, it seems. That might just be down to the prompt. And then Llama as well. And then you can see differences as well. And as well as post from here. So if you want to create a X or a Twitter post, you can do it from right here, all within this one Streamlit application, a much more, I think, relevant version than the one that I was showing you before, which is because this is more fleshed out. All right. How are we doing at the time? I think, okay, we're good. So I had talked about, so Nick had talked about workflows and I had talked about workflows. So what are workflows? Once you have created an application and you're not using the pre-built workflows, or just under any application, you will be able to go to this workflows tab. And you can create, I already have created some workflows, so we're just going to ignore them for now. And it's just a graph mode, right? It's just a graph where you wanted to, for example, let's create a new workflow where we do image generation. Text to image. Before we even get to that, there's a lot of different kinds of model types. Is you can just essentially drag and drop the model type. So for us, we want to generate an image and then feed it to a descriptor, a new one, especially that we imported from GPT-4. So let's do text. We want to do text to image. See this one right here. And then all you have to do is just select the model type. I'm going to use DALL-E 3, but if you wanted to, you could just select any of the ones from the community. I'm sticking with DALL-E 3. And then I want to use a model type called multimodal to text, in which I'm using this OpenAI GPT-4 vision model to generate very high quality descriptions of images from you. So we're going to call it Hackathon image generate and describe. And just save this workflow. And that's saved your workflow graph. And not just that, it has also created an API endpoint for you. So now it means that you can just call this API endpoint by, once again, hitting use workflow, getting your API code, putting it into your notebooks, your scripts, and then you're done. And now if you wanted to test it out, I'm just going to give it this prompt again, because I've apparently really committed to the red panda stuff. So I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to say, just say a red panda journeying in an enchanted forest on an adventure. Now it's not going to display the image for us because that's a limitation of the UI, but that's where Streamlit will come in, because we don't have support built in for displaying images generated on the fly. But this is what it is doing on the back end is this text that we have provided it while this is loading. We can actually, oops, all right, just made a mistake. Just duplicate this right here. And we're going to give it that same input we gave it, and then walk through while it loads up that response. A red panda journeying through an enchanted forest on an adventure. All right, we're going to submit it, have it do its work, and just walk through what is going on the back end. So what is happening on the back end is that input that I have given it, a red panda walking through an enchanted forest, is being taken in as an input. It's being fed to the text to image model, which is DALL-E 3. And that image being generated, or the output of this model, is being fed as an input to the GPT-4 vision model. And once we created that workflow, we essentially set up that API endpoint to do it. Now, the first time you load up any model, and depending on the model weight and type, it's going to take a few seconds, which in case of LLMs could be multiple seconds, and generative models can be multiple seconds to spin it back up. But once you have it up and running, the response time from that model, that workflow will drop down. Now, this has generated an image within the JSON. If you remember the Streamlit module I built for Stable Diffusion, all I was doing was essentially going through that JSON, or my script was doing it, and reading this base 64 string and displaying it. Now, this image has been generated. We know why, because OpenAI GPT-4 Vision is looking at this and generating this very detailed description, saying this is an enchanting digital artwork of a fantasy forest scene. The focal point is a cute red panda with a striking long tail, right? So just with a few clicks, by dragging and dropping some models and choosing the proper ones, we've created a new API endpoint that didn't exist, now is ready to go. And if you wanted to create any kind of application, any use case for it, all you have to do is just create or copy the code from this workflow endpoint. Now, in the beginning, I had mentioned that we deal with unstructured data, especially images, audios, video, text. And video we process as a sequence of images. But I also mentioned text. So if you allow me to go back here to models, we can filter for audio. At the moment, a lot of our audio models are audio transcription models. So you will see a lot of different kinds of audio transcription models, different languages, different model types, different companies, and then some of our own. So these models can be used to do interesting things. And I'd mention why I use Clarifai at all. It is because you can start chaining together things from different disparate settings and start working with them. And one such use case is of audio to text sentiment. Now, we have different sentiment models in platform. I'm just going to duplicate this so we don't lose this. And what is happening, or what is a use case here, is that people have a lot of audio files, and sometimes they want to figure out what is the sentiment of all of them. So we have a workflow that we can create, and that, once again, if you go to audio to text, drag and drop it, which we have done right here, you can select from all these different model types. I have selected the Wave to Vec, as I found that to be the one that works the best. And so I just went with it. And then the second one is a text classifier. So we have various different pre-built text classifiers. And you'll see over here, if we go to community, and we can just select the ones that we want. I think I'm going with just the moderation multilingual text classification. And the way you get to list all these is by clicking into the select a model. If you had your own text classifier, they would appear right here in this app. And from community, you will be able to come up right here. And that would, once again, once you update your workflow or create new workflow, you have now created a new endpoint. Now, I'm not sure if I am creating or sharing audio, as in like you can hear the audio of the browser, but these are two audio files, very short, like a few seconds of one of our colleagues saying, "This is a sad day for elephants everywhere," right? And this is once you submit this audio file or any audio file, at the moment you would have to submit them in chunks of 1 minute, which hopefully will be coming streaming very soon. You can hit view JSON, and it would be giving you that transcribed text right here, which is, "This is a sad day for elephants everywhere." And then we're feeding it to sorry, I picked a social media sentiment model. It is being fed to this very extensively trained social media sentiment model, which we had trained, which right now it's giving it a negative sentiment, which is fine. This is a negative audio file. If you wanted to try a different audio file, let me just load up a second one, which is another like 3-4 second file. Yeah, there you go. So please wait while the workflow takes a little longer. Model deployment time can vary based on the size of the model, which is something I was highlighting before. Is the first time you spin up a model or a series of models, they are going to require some time to load up. It's usually a few seconds, but once it's loaded up, the response time will drop down to a few hundred milliseconds, and usually about, if you don't call a model for 20 minutes, it will go dormant. But yes, the audio file has been transcribed, and it's saying, "What a wonderful day for elephants everywhere," which is exactly actually what he says, which now being fed to social media sentiment model comes out as positive. And yeah, that's like the broadest possible overview that you could have of the platform. There are custom models that you can build and within platform to classify things. I actually think we do have time. So I'm going to actually walk you through one such model. And there's different kinds of models. So let's see if I can remember the name of this application. There we go. So the use case here was, it's not within the realm of generative AI, but if you wanted to do old school image classification and detection and so on, the use case here, while this was loading up, is that we had a client who was trying to do a few things within the images that they had. And I apologize for this. I think my internet is just garbage today. Where they were trying to do a few things. They wanted to detect within the images that they had if there was a package or a box or something like that in that image. And the use case here, I'm going to see if I can just reload this. There we go. So this was a last mile delivery optimization service where you might receive your Amazon or Walmart or something similar packages, your delivery packages of any kind. There's a pain point where people's packages are lost or they're misdelivered and so on. And this company would receive your packages and deliver them for you, and at your chosen time. So instead of your package being delivered off at a random time, they will receive a package for you, and then they will deliver it at a time of your choosing. And they wanted to do a few things. Number one, they wanted to detect boxes in an image. They wanted to look for a door in the image to see if there was a door nearby. They wanted to see if there were any text in the image, just to see if they could read the address of the person. And then the fourth one was they wanted to see if the image was well or poorly lit. So the door classification we did just with the general model that we saw, the 10,000 category one, because door is already in there. OCR was used to read this box, and I'm going to show you the output in just a second. But then we labeled, custom labeled images for packages, right? So all these images are labeled with packages, and then we trained custom models. And if you have a time on the later one, we can walk through how to train. I think we're going to walk through custom training if I'm not mistaken. And then we also labeled images as poorly lit images, about 33 in this case. And then custom training, and then well-lit images, about 65. It's about 100 images labeled there. And training a custom model classifier requires about 50 images per category, not that many. A detector would require about 250, but most of the classifiers will be fine with it. So I'm just going to load up the result of the final workflow. I have a a lot of stuff in here. So please pardon me for that. I think we're coming up at our closing time. So yeah, so just to recap, and this workflow has been dormant for a while, so it's going to take it a few seconds to load up. To recap, what we did in this use case was that we wanted to detect boxes in an image, and then we wanted to figure out if there was a door nearby. And then third thing we wanted to do was figure out if the image was well lit or poorly lit. Fourth thing was read the text, if there was any text in the image, to maybe possibly get the address of the person where it was being dropped. Which last thing was a nice to have. It was not necessary, but it was a use case that came up and is definitely something that we can do. There we go. So it's loaded up all these packages, and we can play around with the prediction thresholds. And we can say only show me values where you're at least 68% sure. And we've detected this package correctly. And then the image, general image model was returning door right here. So we found the door. And then the OCR was reading the 2980 and the hello, which was to be expected. And then the last model, which was our image quality model. Let me just show you an example of that. And this is labeling, this is predicting the entire image to be well lit. And yeah, that's the broadest possible overview. I think we are at time, so I will not waste any more of your time. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to show you this.
And thanks a lot for this deep overview on the platform and for the session and taking your time to help us today understand the Clarifai platform better. Thank you so much, Sanwal.
Yep.
With that, I'm happy to announce already the second session on Clarifai, which will be more specific on GPT-4 vision app creation with Clarifai platform. And we have Sumant here, who is also mentoring this hackathon. So he will not only will help you with onboarding, but also he will help you during your hackathon journey on our Discord, answering all your questions. Sumant, let us know if you can hear me, and we will be able to start. We do see our Discord screen share. If it's something you wanted to show.
Do you hear me, Alicia?
Yeah, I can hear you, and we do see the Discord screen right now. Yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
fine.
You can see the platform now. Yeah, then the stage is yours.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the introduction, Alicia. And hi everyone, this is Sumant. I'm the machine learning developer advocate at Clarifai. So if you're not aware of Clarifai, obviously you might have an idea of what Clarifai does with all the introductions that Sarnwal and Nick have did, and also maybe you have gone through the platform when you're just trying to sign up for the hackathon. So Clarifai is a full stack AI platform which helps you to like take audio, vision, like other types of data, like other types of model, or maybe the different types of data into like from scratch. Like we can just build everything within the platform. It's a full stack AI platform. It just helps you to build the things. And thanks Sanwal for the session. Like Sanwal has just walked you through the all the things that you can just build with the platform. He's just shown you how to create apps, what are applications, and what are UI modules. And also he has shown you some of the modules such as chatbot, and also this LLM battleground module where you can just compare different modules, different LLMs. And also Sanwal has just walked you through the workflows thing, which is a really cool thing with Clarifai, where you can just try to chain different models and try to build some cool applications. We can just build multimodal applications with the workflows thing. So in this session, like I would like to go in detail about UI modules. Maybe you got an idea of what UI modules are after getting the introduction from Sanwal, but I would like to get into more detail. I would like to show you how you can just create an UI module from scratch, right from just thinking of a use case. Obviously, that's what you will be doing in the hackathon as well, right? You will be coming up with a use case. You will be using one of the models that we have, the NextGen GPT AI models, and then obviously you will be building some cool application and just hosting it in the cloud. So that's what I'm going to walk you through the session. We're going to build an end-to-end UI module. And also for this session, right, like in order to think of the use case, we're going to use the GPT-4 vision model. from OpenAI, which is a multimodal model where it can just takes both image and text data, and you can just chat with the image, right? So I hope you just tried the model. Maybe if you haven't, I'll just show you how you can just try the model using the platform UI, and also how you can just access the model using the Python SDK, which makes it really easy to run these models, right? With just a couple of lines of code, I'll just show you. And then we'll just actually evaluate this GPT-4 vision model, whether we can just do this GPT-4 vision. We can just use this model for object detection tasks. Let's think of a use case, like I'm just trying to think of like, can we just use this GPT-4 vision model, right? Like we all know GPT-4 vision is capable of handling image data, but can it be used for object detection? Let's try it out. And also, if it doesn't perform well, maybe we can just think of some other alternatives, how we can just use the models that we have in the Clarifai platform, right? The other models like the general image detection model, object detection models, like how you can just use this model and leverage the GPT-4 vision capabilities, right? Just combining these different models in the platform, and how you can just come up with a use case. So that's what we're going to build, and at the end we're going to build an UI module and deploy it to the Clarifai cloud. So that's the agenda of this session. That's what we'll be walking through. That's what we're going to see. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the chat, or maybe in the Discord. We will be available in the Lab AI Discord, or maybe if you are in the Clarifai Discord, like just feel free to share any questions that you have regarding the platform, regarding the hackathon. We're happy to help you out. So yeah, without further delay, let's get started. So this is the platform overview. Like you can just see, I'm not going into much details. Like Sanwal and Nick have just shown you how you can just log in, how you can just create apps and all the things. So I'm not going to go in detail. So let's try to directly jump into the community, and let's try to access the GPT-4 vision model and just build some cool things. So I'm going to log into the platform. So if you already have an account, that's fine. But if you haven't, just sign up. So I already have, and I just log into the platform, and this is how it looks like when you just log into the portal first for the first time. And you can see these are all my apps, datasets that I just created, the models that I just created, the workflows, modules, leaderboard, everything which is specific to me. And similarly, there's an option for the community. You can just see here, where you can just find the models, apps, workflows, modules which are available for the public use. You can directly access these models or modules or workflows. So I'm not going to go in detail, but that's the community that we have. And let's go to the models. I guess that's what most of you will be using during the hackathon, all the cool models that we have. In the models, you can see the models like the face detection, general image recognition model, different LLMs. You can see the GPT-4, and obviously there are hundreds of models available. And on the right hand side, you can see the option that where you can just try to filter these models, whether for example, let's say in one of your use case for this hackathon, right? Just want to use an image generation model, maybe you can just filter out with this sidebar that we have, which makes it really easy to filter all these models, and you can just access it and use it in your project. So that's how you can just go through the community, and you can just access these models. So let's search for the GPT-4 vision model. Like if you need to access any kind of model in the platform, right, in the community, all you need to do is search for the model. I'm going to search for the GPT-4 vision model. I'm going to search for GPT-4 vision. You can see just given the results, you can see that there we have GPT-4 vision and also GPT-4 vision alternative. So both the models support multimodal capabilities. Both can take image and text data, and you can able to ask anything on the images. Like both the models support multimodal capabilities, but the GPT-4, the only difference is the GPT-4 vision alternative model. You need to pass the image as an inference parameter, like how you just pass the other parameters, like for an LLM, like the temperature, or maybe we have the other parameters like max tokens, right? That's how you need to pass the image URL as well. But with the GPT-4 vision, you can just directly pass the image URL. That's the only difference. And you can just use this GPT-4 vision for the use cases or maybe the project that you're going to build. Just use that model. So I just opened the model. This is how the model UI looks, and this is the model nodes that we have. You can see the complete details of the model, and also how you can just run this model using the Python SDK. Obviously, in order to run any kind of model, or maybe you need to create an app or anything, you need to have a personal access token, which helps you to access all these cool models and the workflows or modules. So you can see there are instructions on how you can just set your personal access token as an environment variable that is required when you're just trying to access these models. And also here we have the code, right? Like it's just a few lines of code where you can just do some predictions. You can just do some predictions to this GPT-4 vision model, and you can just get the response. Like you can just see just a few lines of code. We'll just try to run it later on. But if you are trying to use this model for any of your use case in the project, that's how you need to go, right? Like just go to the community, search for the model that you just required, go to the model page, and here in the details, like in the model notes, you will have all the details, like how to set your personal access token, how to access the model via Python SDK, all the details, right? You can just simply copy this code and you can just use it in your application. That's how simple it is. And you can see there's the code for how you can just do some predictions using some local image. So this is where we just send the image URL to the model. But here, if you just need to upload some local images and if you need to do some predictions, if you need to run some model predictions, like you can just do it using this code, and it makes it really easy, right? Just a few lines of code to do it. So that's the model nodes that we have. It's the same for any kind of model. You can just go to the any model in the community. You can just access the code that we have here, and you can just use it in your project. So maybe I'll just try to upload some input. Maybe if you need to try this model in the UI, obviously you can just do. Obviously the GPT-4 vision model supports the image data. So maybe I'll just try to upload some image from my PC. So this is the car image. I've just uploaded. Let's wait for the model's response. It won't take much time to respond. Let's wait. Yeah, you can see this is the response that I just got from the GPT-4 vision model. Like you shared an image of a luxury vehicle. This is a white Mercedes-Benz SUV. So you just got the details of the model, right? So that's how. If you need to try the model, we have this cool UI where you can just upload your own images. You can just see the response, like how this model works, etc. So that's how the UI works. Now let's jump into the actual thing where we're going to use this model to build some cool things. So yeah, let's jump into that. So for that, I am going into the collab notebook. Okay, I've just disconnected. Let me try to reconnect this. So yeah, this is the collab notebook that I have, where we just try to run this model. So all you need to do is, like, in order to access any kind of model, all you need to do is install the Clarifai library. You can just do it with pip. So you can see I have installed here the Clarifai library using the pip command, pip install Clarifai. That's the single command that you need to give to install the library. And then once you just install the library, you need to set your personal access token. As I just mentioned, right? Any kind of model, if you need to access any kind of model using the API or maybe using the SDK, all you need to do is you need to set your personal access token. I will just show you how you can just do it. But here you can see I am setting my personal access token as an environment variable. You can see I'm just using this magic command that we have in Python, like env command, and I'm just giving the my personal access token. So obviously here I just left it as blank, like you can just pass your own personal access token. So in order to get your personal access token, you need to log into the platform. So so you can see once you just log into the platform, right? This is how it just looks like. I'm just explaining you some from scratch, like how you can just access this personal access token. This is how it looks like. And on the top right, you can see the icon, my user icon. Like you can see the symbol called SP. You can just click on it, and below there's an option, like right under the personal settings, there's an option called security. Just go to the security, and here you can see the personal access token where you can just create it. And obviously there's an option called create a personal access token. Just click on it. You can just give a token description, like what's the token name that you need to give. For example, let's say I'll just give data labeling, and you need to select the scopes. As I just mentioned, there are a lot of things that you can just do with the platform, like you can just try to annotate the data, you can just do some model predictions, or there's a lot of things that you can just do. As Sanwal have shown you, you can just select the scopes, like what's the need, like why you're just creating the token. I'm just selecting all the scopes and I'm just confirming it. So you can see I have my personal access token created, which is named data labeling. And now you can just copy the token. There's an option called copy. You can just copy this token, and let's get back to the collab, and you can just pass it here, right? Right under your personal access token, you can just pass it, and you can just set your environment, like the personal access token, as an environment variable. So that's how simple it is. Just go to the platform, right under your profile icon, you have an option called security. Just go to it, create your new personal access token, and just pass it here. So yeah, that's how you can just set your personal access token as an environment variable. Now I'm just passing the code from the model nodes. So you can see, as we have seen, this is the code that we have, where you can just try to do some predictions using the Python SDK. I'm just copying the code and just pasting it here. Nothing, I'm just doing nothing much, like just copy paste here. So that's how you see it is. Like even if you just want to use this GPT-4 vision model, or maybe any other model that we have in the platform, like the NextGen GPT model that you're using for the hackathon, I can just do the copy and you can just directly use it in your project, or maybe the app that you're just trying to build. So let's look at the code that we have here. So you can see I'm just importing the model and inputs classes from the Clarifai client. And then this is my prompt. You can see I'm just asking what time of day is it. So let's look at the image first. So this is the image URL that I've just given. So this is the image. So you can see we have the train station, and we have some, it's an evening time. So you can see some details of the image, right? So I'm just giving that image, and you can see I'm just passing that image URL, and then I'm just passing the inference parameters. So that's really key when you're just trying to use any kind of these LLMs or multimodal language models. These inference parameters such as temperature, max token, the other parameters that you have like top K, all these parameters play a really crucial thing. Like it actually defines the response that you just get from the model. So you can see I've just defined my personal access token as 100, and the temperature I've just set as 0.2, but you can just experiment with it when you're just trying to using it for your own application. Maybe based on your use case, you can just set these tokens. Like maybe if you're just trying to use, for example, let's say classification. For example, you have an image and you need to classify that. You can just set the max tokens as really low, or maybe if you're just using this GPT-4 vision model, or maybe any other models that we have, like the LLMs, if you're just using that for text generation or maybe summarization kind of tasks, you can just set this max token as high as possible. Like you can just experiment with these parameters. So you can see I just have these parameters. I'm just storing that in the dictionary, and then here you can see this is my model URL. I'm just passing my GPT-4 vision model URL here. So you can directly go to the model, right? So this is the model URL that we have. Just copy that and you can just pass it here. And then I'm just using the predict function and just passing all the inputs. Like I'm just passing my prompt and just passing the image URL and the inference parameters and doing the prediction, right? You can see I'm just extracting the response from the model response. I'm just getting the text response. You can see it just returns with a response like it appears to be either done or does given the light conditions visible in the sky. So this is the response from the model. So yeah, that's how you can just use the model. It's pretty straightforward. You can just go to the model page, copy the code, set your personal access token, and then just give your image URL or maybe the prompt that you just want to give to the model and just run it. So that's how you can just use this model. And now let's try to think of a use case. Like as I just discussed, GPT-4 vision is capable of understanding image data. You can see I've just passed my image data and also the prompt, and I just asked to give some description about this image, and we just got the response, right? Let me think of a use case of object detection. For example, let's say I have an image and I need to get a bounding boxes of an object which is present in an image. For example, let's say I have a car image, right? And I need to get the exact bounding boxes, exact coordinates of where the car located in that image, so that maybe I can just use that coordinates. Maybe I can just use those coordinates to draw a bounding box, or maybe I can just do for any other task, right? So let me think of a use case of using this GPT-4 vision model for object detection. Let me try that first, like if it is possible or not, like let's see that first. So you can see this is the same code that I have, and I'm just giving a prompt like detect a car in the image, provide me with X minimum, Y minimum, X max and Y max coordinates, like the 4 coordinates of the car, where we can just use that to create, draw the bounding blocks. Obviously, you can just use this use case for maybe the data labeling kind of thing. So I'm just asking the GPT-4 vision model, I'm just giving the prompt as this to give the coordinates. And you can see I'm just passing this image URL, like the car image URL. This is the car image that I'm just passing. And then I'm just setting my inference parameters. It's the same process, like setting the inputs and doing some predictions. So you can see the response here from the GPT-4 vision model mentioning that it can't assist with that request, right? So I just tried with some other prompts as well, where I just changed the way I just asked this input. In that prompt, maybe in that response, the model returned with a response called the image is located at the top of the image, like top of the image, the object, like the car object is located at the top of the image, left to this kind of thing, like just give some details, but it actually didn't give you the exact coordinates where you can just use that. So yeah, we just seen, right, like you can just see we can't use the object GPT-4 vision model for object detection task. Maybe they're getting the coordinates of an image. It's not currently possible with the model. So now what's the solution? Like how we can just solve this problem? Like we have this, we just thought GPT-4 vision model is capable of handling data. So I just thought maybe I can just try out this task called object detection, but it's not currently giving the response. It's not assisting with that request. Now what's the solution? What we can just do? So the possible solution is we can just use the object detection models. We can just use the object detection models, and we can just get the coordinates of the object within that image, and then we can just pass that coordinates to the GPT-4 vision model, and then ask it to label the things. So don't get into detail. Like I'll just show you how to do all these things within the code, but I'm just giving you an idea, like giving you a context on what we're just trying to build, how we are just trying to solve this. So yeah, we're going to use the object detection model, where it just returns all the bounding box coordinates within an image, and then we're going to use that coordinates with all the details, and we'll just pass that to the GPT-4 vision model, and we'll just ask it, so what's the object present in these coordinates? So we'll just share, this is the X minimum, this is the Y minimum, this is the X max and Y max. Now what is the image present in this bounding box coordinates? So that's what we're going to ask the GPT-4 vision model, and we're going to get this response from the model, and we can just use the response from the model to label the image, right? So I'll just show you what we're going to build, so that maybe we'll get an idea. So you can see here the image here that we have, where we just have created the bounding box for an image, and then on the top of the image we have the label. I'm not sure if you have seen that, but we're having the label of this car. So that's what we're going to build. We're going to label the we're going to have the bounding box coordinates, and we're going to add that coordinates to the image, and we're going to label that using the GPT-4 vision model. So you may ask, like, why we need to use the GPT-4 vision model instead of using the general image detection models that we have, right? Like we have a lot of image detection models which can actually draw the bounding box for you, which can actually add the class for you, like it will completely do the data labeling task for you. But why we need to use the GPT-4 vision model? So the thing is, like these general object detection models didn't have much idea on the recent things, right? For example, let's say I have these brand new car models. For example, let's take a use case of doing the data labeling on car images. Maybe the general image detection models didn't have an idea of different car brands that we need to label for our use case, right? In that case, the solution is maybe you can just get an image like the object detection models, maybe the general image detection models, and you can just fine tune that for your own use case. Maybe you can just add some new car images. You can just try to fine tune it so that you can just use that model to identify that new car brands or maybe the new car labels, right? But like instead of doing transfer learning, or maybe even instead of doing fine tuning the existing models, we're going to use the pre-training knowledge of GPT-4 vision, and we're going to use that to label the car images, the brands that we have, different car brands that we have. So that's what we're going to build. Just to summarize, we're gonna get a car image, we're gonna pass that to the object detection model. From Clarifai, like we have a different object detection model that we have in the platform. We're gonna use one of the model, and we're gonna use that to get the coordinates of from the image. Like we're gonna get the coordinates of the car, like where exactly where the car is located, and we're gonna pass that to the GPT-4 vision model to label it. So that's the end-to-end use case, and we're gonna build an UI module as well, like where you can just upload your image, where you can just pass your personal access token, and you can just get the response, like an end application. So that's what we're gonna build. I hope you get an idea of what we're just trying to do in this session. So maybe you might get an idea. So yeah. Now, yeah, let's get to the model. Like let's get to the platform and let's check for the different models that we have. The object detection model that we have is the same, right? If you need to access any kind of model, just go to the community under the model section, just search for the model that you just require. I'm going to search for object detection. Yeah, you can see just written some, let's try to enter it. Yeah, you can see there are different models that we have, and at the bottom you can see we have a model called object detector, and obviously there are other models as well that you can just use. As I just mentioned, you can see this general image recognition model. It will actually recognize the image as well. It's not just about drawing the bounding box. It's not just about getting the coordinates for you. It also labels you the what is that object. So Sanwal have showed you how to use the general image recognition model, so you can just use it. But for our use case, right, I'm going to use the car brands that this general image recognition model didn't know, right? So that's why I'm just using this object detector, which doesn't actually detect any kind of it doesn't label anything, but it just gives the object, it just gives the bounding box of the object. So let's open this, the object detector. We will just see how this model works. So I'm going to open it. Yeah, you can see I just opened the model, and yeah, just running. You can see this is the image that we have. Let's wait for it. Yeah, you can see we got the response, right? So this is the image that we have, and you can see the model detected all the objects present in this image. Like we have different shirts, we have laptop, we have a book. Even in the book, right, you can see even in the book we have a couple of faces, and also we can see we have watch and different objects, right? So this model detects the objects which is present in an image, not just a single object, right? It just detects all the objects that we have in the image. You can see there are a lot of objects, and it detects all the objects which is present in the image. And yeah, we're going to use this model for our use case. And obviously, if it is an LLM or if it is any other generative AI models, you will be having all the model nodes, how to use this model, etc. But you can just do it with the Python SDK. You will having all the scripts within the model nodes. But currently, we didn't have the details for the other models that we have in the platform. For example, say this object detector or maybe general image recognition models, etc. So for that case, if you need to use, all you need to do is just copy the image URL and you can just pass it to the Python SDK. How we just did it for the GPT-4 vision model, you can just do this in a similar way. We'll just see how to do it. But even if you need to access the model, not with the Python SDK, but even with the Clarifai client that we have, like the API, if you need to access, you can just click on this use model thing, and you can see we have the code here in different languages, not just the Python. We have support for JavaScript, Java, Node.js, Curl, and PHP. You can just copy the code and obviously directly use it in your application. So it's pretty straightforward. You can just use the model here, click on use model, and just copy the code and use it. So yeah, that's about this object detector. You can see it detects a lot of objects within the image. Now let's try to use this model. I'm going to copy the model URL. You can see I'm just copying the URL of the model, and then let's jump into the Collab notebook and see how you can just use this model. So you can see I'm just importing the model from clarifai.client, and then this is my image URL. Obviously this is the car image that we're just passing to the image, to the model. And you can see I'm just initializing the model. This is the object detector model. I'm just passing the URL and then initializing the model. That's what I just did it here, and just getting the response from the model by using the predict by URL method, and I'm just passing the image URL and input type as image. So that's how simple it is to run the model using the Python SDK. Like you can see, just a couple of lines of code. I'm just importing the model class from the Clarifai client, and then just initializing the image URL and just the model, and then passing these inputs and just doing the using the predict by URL method and just getting the response. So you just do it with just a couple of lines of code. That's how easy it is to access all these models. And yeah, once we get the response, you can see I'm just passing the image and the input type. I got the response. I'm just storing that in the prediction response. And obviously, right, if you can see the model, we have a lot of images within an image. Like the model detects not just a single image, but each and every object which is present in an image. So that's what this model does. And I'm just showing all the regions. As we just mentioned, there are multiple regions that the model detects. I'm just showing all these regions using this. I'm just storing that regions here. Like you can see, I'm just getting this response, prediction response, and I'm just iterating over through that. I'm just getting all the regions, and I'm just storing that in the regions variable. So that's what I just did it here. And now what we're going to do is, obviously we just got the model URL, we just got the object detection model, and then we just passed the image and we got the response. Like we just got all the object detected by the model, and we have stored it in the here. Now what I'm just doing it here is like I'm just iterating over each region. So you can see we have different regions, and I'm just iterating over each region for this image. I'm just iterating over each region, and I am you can see I am actually rounding all the bounding boxes that we just get from the model. For each region, I'm just getting the bounding box, and I'm just rounding that so that yeah, I'm just rounding all the 4 coordinates, like the top row, left row, bottom row, and right column. And then you can see I am only considering the concepts even within the region, right? As I just mentioned, we have multiple regions that the model detects, and even within the region we will be having multiple concepts. You can see, for example, let's say if the model detects a book, right? If it detects the region as book, even within the book you have multiple concepts like different persons and etc. So we have different concepts. So I'm just iterating over through that. Like for each concept, I am actually setting a threshold as 0.99. You can see I'm just setting the threshold as 0.99. I'm just only considering the concepts which is 99% confident, that like which the model is 99% confident. Maybe you can just change this based on your use case, but here I'll just set the threshold as 0.99, and then you can see only if the value is greater than threshold, I am considering this. So I'm just iterating over all the regions. Within the regions, we have multiple concepts, and I'm just iterating over those concepts. And only if the concept is 99% confident, like if the model prediction is 99%, if the model is 99% confident that the predicted object, I am only considering that, right? You can see that's what I'm just doing here in the entire code. And you can see here I just defined my model URL. This is the GPT-4 vision model, and these are the classes that we're going to use. So we're going to label different car brands. Like you can see, I just mentioned Ferrari 8112, Volkswagen Beetle, BMW M5, Honda Civic. Like these are the classes that I've just given. But maybe based on your use case, for example, let's say if you're just using the same model, same kind of thing for detecting different food images, right? Maybe you can just pass those classes here. Maybe you can just pass those different classes like food images, food classes, or maybe if it is for different like identifying different, for example, let's say different animals, you can just give the classes. Different objects, for example, let's say you can just pass that different classes here. Currently, we are just dealing with car data, like we have different car images and we need to label that. I have just passed the classes, so that's what I just set my use case. So based on that, I just pass these classes. And then you can see, obviously, I'm just iterating over through all region and even iterating through all the concepts that we have in each region. And here you can just see I am passing my prompt. So within this prompt, you can see I just mentioned label the car in the bounding box region. You can see I'm just passing all the coordinates that we have in the region as an F string. Just passing the top row, left column, bottom row, and right column. And I'm just asking it to predict, like I'm just giving the GPT-4 vision model all the image coordinates, all the coordinates of the image, like the object, and then asking it to label it, like label the car in this bounding box region with one word. Like I want to use that label to actually label my image data, right? I didn't want to add that concept. So that's what I'm just asking the model. That's why I just given this prompt: label the car in the bounding box region, given all the details, pass all the regions, and then passing all the classes to the in the prompt as well. So yeah, that's what the prompt, and you can see I'm just getting the response from the model. I'm just passing the image URL, like the car image URL, and I'm just getting the response. I'm just storing that under concept name, and you can see I'm just printing the final response. You can see the car image is BMW M5 with the confidence that the model is predicted that it's 99.8% confident that the car is it's a car image, and so you can see that's what it just written. And even the bounding boxes, right? You can see we just got all the bounding boxes here. So that's what I just printed. That's how you can just use this. So it's pretty simple. Like I just got the model URL from the, I just gone to the community. I just gone to the object detection model. I just get the object. I just got the URL, and then I just passed it here and just get the response, iterating over the response. And I'm just using the GPT-4 vision model in between this to refine the predictions and to label the image, right? So that's what I'm just building. That's what I'm just trying to code it here. So it's pretty simple on how you can just do it. So yeah, that's how you can just use it. So it's the same, like the process is the same, even if you're just doing using in your hackathon. Maybe different use cases. Maybe you can just come up with some different use cases on how you can just combine this GPT-4 vision, or maybe the text-to-text models, or maybe the text-to-image models that you have. Maybe you can just use the other models which you have in the platform, like the object detection model, or maybe the image recognition model. Like we have different models, so you can just come up with a use case where you can just combine these two models, where you can just leverage the models from the Clarifai, where you can just leverage the models from OpenAI, like the GPT-4 models, and you can just come up with a use case. I can just build. So it's just a simple example to show you what you can just come up with, how you can just build with the models that we have, like the different models which we have, not just the GPT-4 vision, or maybe the GPT models, or maybe the OpenAI models. It's the whole lot of models that we have in the community. You can just combine those models and you can just come up with a use case. So that's the main idea. That's why I just want to present this. So that's the use case that I'm just trying to create it here. And obviously here you can see I am just using the pill image, like the pillow library. I'm just using that to like obviously we have the coordinates, right? We have all the 4 coordinates of the image, of the object which is in an image, and then we also have the label from the GPT-4 vision model. So I'm just using those 2 things. I'm just using the pillow library, which is a Python library which you can just work with the image data. I'm just using this library to draw the bounding box and also add the label. So that's what I'm just doing here in the entire code. You can see I just imported the image draw, and image font, like some of the modules from pill library, like the pillow library. And at the bottom you can see I am drawing the rectangle on top of the image using those coordinates. So that's what you can just see here in the green. And also I'm just using the draw.text, like the text method from the pillow library, in order to add the text, in order to add the label that we got from the GPT-4 vision model on top of the image, right? So that's what I'm just doing in the code. It's pretty simple. I just imported the pillow library and also other libraries to do it and display the response. So I hope you get an idea. It's not just about like the thing that I'm just building here is not just something that I'm just trying to work. I'm just giving you a few ideas where you can just come up with some more use cases. So obviously, right, you can just see we have an entire bounding box on the image label, right? You can just use for data labeling, where you can just have an application where you can just pass an image, different image URLs, and you can just get the labeled data labeled using these models, right? So yeah, that's kind of what you can just come up with. So yeah, we have just seen how you can just run the model using the Python SDK. And then we are just seeing whether this model works for object detection. And then we have seen how to access the object detection model from the platform, how you can just combine with how you can just combine that with the GPT-4 vision model, and then come up with a use case like where you can just label the data, right? So that's what we just did in this entire notebook. Now let's jump into the actual building the application. So this is the Collab notebook. It's okay, like we're just seeing how to work with all these things. But obviously, for the end user, we need to have an application where they can just try it out, right? Like if I just build something, obviously it's not for me. It should be useful for some other, right? So we need to create an application. We will just host it in the cloud so that everyone can access it, right? So that's what we're gonna build now. We're gonna build an UI module. So if you're not aware of UI modules, so UI modules are the Clarifai's integration with Streamlit, which helps you to build beautiful web applications. So even previously, Sanal has showed you like the LLM battleground module where you can just select different LLMs that we have in the platform, or you can just compare the response. You can see all this cool UI, all the responses from the model, different model, where you can just compare different things, all these things, right? So that's the UI module. So it's just an integration, Clarifai's integration with Streamlit, and helps you to build web apps for all your AI projects. So we'll just see how can you do it. In order to create a UI module, the first thing that you need to follow is like first thing that you can do is the thing that I need to add is like just forgot to mention, like especially for this hackathon, we are just asking you to submit the UI module. Maybe if you're just working with any of this, if you're just trying to access any of these models, if you're just building some cool things, we would want you to build an UI module out of it. So as I will be showing, that's how you can just create it. But we would require you to create a UI module. You need to deploy it in the Clarifai cloud, and you need to provide that public URL of the module so that we can actually evaluate, or maybe you can just see your the application, the entire application. So that's also one of the reasons that why I come up with this session. So maybe you can just all know. Maybe you can all get familiar with how to create these modules. So yeah, now let's get into the thing on how to create this module. So you can just go to github.com. So you can see just here. You can just go to github.com/clarifai/module template. So it's pretty simple. Like go to this URL, github.com/clarifai/module template. So this is the module template that we have, which will help you, which makes it really easy to create UI modules. So all you need to do is you need to clone this repository, and you can just work on your project, right? So I will just show you how to do it. So first you need to go to like the module template. You can just find it in github.com/clarifai/module template. You can go to the URL, and this is how it looks like, the template. Now I am gonna use this template to create my module. So here we have the option for use this template, and I'm gonna create a new repository. You can see there's an option for creating a new repository, and I'm just choosing an owner, and I'm giving my repository name, just data labeling, and you can just provide the description of your app, and you can just select whether you want to make it public or private, and let's create the repository. Let's wait for a moment. Yeah, I have my repository. You can see I've just used the template, the module template, and just created a new repository where I'm gonna do all my things, where I'm gonna build my application. So this is where I'm gonna build my application. So I can see this is the repository that I just created, data labeling. Now in order to use this, in order to write all your code, let's try to clone this repository to my local machine, and let's work on there. So in order to clone the repository, all you need to do is just copy the GitHub, the repository URL. You can just do it here under code. You can just copy the URL, and you can just go to the terminal, and you can just go to the folder that you just have. Maybe if you need to work on your project in a specific folder, you need to change. You can just change that. Maybe I can just change to another folder where I can just change my folder to Clarifai. Yeah. Now let's try to create the repository. Let's clone this repository here. So you can see I just changed my a path to in my local machine where I need to clone this repository. I just changed my path, and then you can just initialize the Git. Maybe you can just give Git init to initialize the Git, and then you can see the initialized maybe I can just I hope you can just see all the things that I'm just typing here. But yeah, all I'm just doing is I'm just initializing, I'm just going to the path where I need to clone this repository. And then I'm just initializing the git using git init command. And then I'm just using the git clone and then passing the repository URL that we have copied here, right? We just copied the repo URL. And then I'm just passing it here like git clone and pass your repository and just clone it to your local machine. So that's how simple it is. So to recap what we have did, just gone to the template like github.com/clarifai/module template, and we have created a new repository using the template, and we have copied the code. We have gone to the terminal and we have just changed to the path where we need to clone the repository. We have initialized the git and we have cloned the repository. So that's what we have did. Now I just have my repository. Now let's try to work on the code. Let's try to, I'm just opening the project using PyCharm. So maybe you can just open your favorite IDE and you can just work it from there. So I've just opened PyCharm, and this is the project structure. You can see this is my README file that I have. This is the template, right? This is what we just cloned from the repository, and this is the project that we have. And you can see the app.py file, all the code that we have pre-imported from the module template, and obviously, yeah, this is how it looks like when you just opened in PyCharm. This is how the project structure is. Now, obviously, in order to build your application, first you need to import the necessary libraries, and first you need to install those libraries, right? So for this application, obviously, you can just see for my application, I just used Clarifai in order to access the model, different models, maybe the GPT-4 vision and also the object detection model. And then for this, right, in order to build the UI modules, you need to install Streamlit, as I just mentioned. UI modules are the Clarifai's integration with Streamlit. So you need to install Streamlit. You can install the Streamlit using pip install Streamlit, and also, as I just mentioned, I just added those bounding box and also add the label using the pillow library, right? So you need to install that, like pip install pillow. So you can just go to the terminal and you can install all these libraries. You can just do pip install Clarifai. Yeah, you can see its requirement already satisfied. So similarly, right? Similarly, you can just install other libraries like Clarifai. For my use case, for this use case, like for thing that I'm just building out, all the libraries that I just required is Streamlit, Clarifai, and the pillow library. But maybe when you're just trying to build your own use case, right, for your own application, you can just install the libraries which you're just trying to use in your app. And then I'm just defining my entire code in the first page.py. You can just do it wherever you just want. Maybe you can just use app.py. You can just use first page.py. You can see we have the pages directory, right? You can see here in the project structure we have the pages directory. Under the pages we have the first page.py. So I'm going to use this file to define all my project structure. So it's up to you where you need to create. Whether you can just use app.py or maybe the first page.py or any other file. So I'm just using and I'm just defining it here. And it's pretty simple. It's not complex. You can see I'm just importing all the necessary libraries. Import Streamlit SST. I'm just importing OS library. And from clarifai.modules.css, I'm just importing the Clarifai Streamlit CSS. So these are the things that you will be getting pre-imported from the module template. That's why I just mentioned, right? When you just clone this module template and when you just create the repository and when you just create a module from using this module template, you will getting all these libraries, right? Not the libraries like which I just imported, like the pill, etc. But you will be getting the libraries such as the Streamlit and also this module called Clarifai Streamlit as CSS. These kind of modules which help you to build UI modules, right? These kind of libraries you will be getting all from the module template. So you can see I'm just I'm just importing this, and then I'm just importing the from Clarifai.client that model. I'm just importing the model. So that's what we just did it, right? Even in the notebook, we just imported the model class from the Clarifai Python SDK, and you can see I'm just importing the necessary functions from the pill library, like the pillow library, and then setting the page config using Streamlit, and then initializing some default stream CSS primitives that helps you to display your UI module. So it's just a basic things that I'm just defining here. I'm just setting the page config using Streamlit, and I'm just using the Streamlit, Clarifai Streamlit CSS library. I'm just setting the basic CSS primitives. So it's just that simple. Like I'm just imported the necessary libraries and I just set some basic configurations. And you can see I'm just using Streamlit, right? And I'm aware that most of you know about Streamlit, like how it works, what are the functions that it has, how you can just create different UI things, like customize the UI things, etc. But it's just similar to that. All you need to do is just import this. You need to import this Clarifai Streamlit CSS, and you need to initialize this CSS primitives, and then all you need to do is add your code. So I'm just defining my title, page title. I'm just giving like data labeling using general object detection model and GPT-4 vision, and then you can see I'm just defining my entire logic within the main function. This is the main function. You can see within the main function, I'm just getting the URL, like the image URL from the user. For example, let's say a user want to upload an image URL of a car, and I need to get that in the backend, and I need to respond it with an image label. So maybe I will just get an input from the user. So I'm going to use this text input method from Streamlit. You can see I'm just using this Streamlit and the text input from method from Streamlit, just defining the details of what this function does, like what this UI does. In the front end, you can see I'm just giving the text like paste a image URL below to get started. I'm just giving some default image URL here. So yeah, that's how I'm just defining the things within the main function. And here you can see I'm just setting the sidebar, maybe to show you what this sidebar is. So maybe you can just go to the yeah, you can see this is the sidebar that I'm just setting up, where user can actually upload their personal access token, and then can able to use the application. So that's what I'm just setting as a sidebar here, where I'm just getting the personal access token from the user, so that maybe you need to use your own API key. So maybe whenever a user need to try out the module, your module, they can just give their own API key, and they can just use the module or maybe the application. So that's why I just set the sidebar. And yeah, apart from that, you can see all the code is same that of what we have seen in the collab notebook. It's just the same. Just getting the objects using the general object detection model, and then passing that to the GPT-4 vision model to get the predictions. And then finally, I'm just using the st.image, like the Streamlit image function, image method, to display the image. You can see display the image to the user. So that's what I just did. You can see it's pretty simple. Imported the necessary libraries, set some default CSS primitives, and then defined my title. I just defined entire logic in my main function, and I just added an UI where a user can upload the text, and a sidebar where user can pass their personal access token, and then in the backend, the same code that we just seen in the collab notebook, where we just try to get the image label, right? So it's simple. It's pretty straightforward, nothing complex. So yeah, that's how you can just define. That's how I just defined here everything. So once you make sure you just have.
I'm sorry I had to interrupt you. Could you please zoom in a little bit, because we don't really see the code clearly. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So yeah, just to recap, maybe if you didn't see what I just did here, I just imported the necessary libraries. You can see Streamlit, the modules, this Streamlit CSS module, and the other models other libraries and the classes which required us to build this application. I just imported the necessary libraries, and I just set my page config, and I just defined my title here. And then you can see in the main function, I just created a text field for the user to upload the image, and then the sidebar where they can just upload the personal access token, and then the same code which we have seen. So it's nothing different. It's the same code that we have just seen in the collab notebook. I just copy pasted here. So yeah, just created. So you can see I just tested out my use case in collab notebook. I just tested out whether we can just use GPT-4 vision for object detection. It's not possible. I just come up I just use one of the object detection model from Clarifai. I just build a use case around it, and I just come to this PyCharm. I just coding my front end, right, the UI using the Streamlit. So that's what I'm just doing to summarize what I've just did, everything. So yeah, that's pretty much it. How you can just add the how can you use the Streamlit in order to define your UI, in order to define your front end, and how you can just define your logic in the back end. So obviously, right, it's just pretty simple UI. It's not an UI that out of the world. It's just pretty few basic functions where we can just getting the input from the user, etc., and just displaying the response. But maybe for your use case, you can just try different functions, different methods, different styles. You can just come up with some innovative ideas of how you just want to how you just want your module to look like. Maybe some cool emojis, or maybe to enhance your application, you can just add some more features for your module using the Streamlit application. So yeah, this is pretty simple, but I hope you got an idea of how to actually use the Streamlit in order to build the things that you have. So yeah, that's what I just did here. Now let's try to test this module. Like obviously we just added all the code. Now let's try to test it whether it's working fine locally. So maybe once we make sure everything working fine locally, maybe we can just go back to deploying this module. So in order to test, maybe I'll just try to open a new terminal here. So in order to test your app locally, obviously in your the Streamlit app, all you need to do is you need to pass the command called Streamlit run and your Python file. So I'm just giving Streamlit run, and I'm just passing my first page .py. So currently I'm in a wrong folder, so I'll just change to that folder, cd pages, and then Streamlit run first page.py. So this is the command that helps you to run your app locally. So it's recommended that before deploying your modules, before deploying it to the cloud, it's recommended that you test your app locally, just making sure all the UIs that you just added, all the things that you just added is working fine, so that maybe you can just jump on to deploying the module. So that's what I'm just doing here. Streamlit run app.py, let's run it. So you can see I just opened in my local host, it's just running fine. So this is the UI, right? This is pretty simple. You can just pass your personal access token here in the sidebar, and you can just pass your image URL, and you will get the image label. Like you'll just get that final image label. So yeah, it's working fine locally. Now let's try to deploy the module. Before that, like obviously when you're just trying to deploy the module, you need to set your requirements.txt file, which is necessary. That helps you to define all the requirements that you have for the library. You can see I've just have this file. In order to get all the requirements, you can just use the command called pip freeze requirements.txt. You can just pass like maybe I can just open my terminal, pip freeze. You can just pass requirements.txt. So yeah, you can just use this command in order to save all the requirements that you have used in your application. So that, right, maybe you don't have any kind of dependency issues when you're just trying to deploy this module, right? So that's why you can just you need to make sure you have all the requirements set. So obviously you can just use this command called pip freeze in order to get all your requirements.txt. So yeah, that's all you need to do. I have my app. I just defined my app. I have defined some basic front end using Streamlit, and then I just make sure my app is running fine locally. Now it's time to deploy this into the cloud. So let's jump into that. I'm going to open my app. I'm going to open my portal. So let's try to log in. I'm just going to clarifai.com and I'm just logging in. Yeah, I'm just logging in. I just logged into the platform. Now, in order to create a UI module, you need to create a new application. So if you're not sure what applications are the kind of containers where you can just store all your data, all your inputs, maybe the models, the workflows, modules, and all the predictions, all your searches, like everything which will be stored in your application. It's like an basic building block in Clarifai, where you can store all your required necessary, as I just mentioned, models, datasets, workflows, modules, everything you can store within an application. So in order to create a new application, like in order to create a module, you need to create a new application. In order to create a new application, you can see on the top right we have an option for create. I'm just giving creating a new application. Just give the app ID. Just specify the app ID that you just required. Maybe I'm just giving data labeling. You can see the ID already exists. Maybe I can just give data labeling 1. Perfect. And now you can just give a short description of your application, what you need your application, like what you're trying to build with the application. Maybe you can just build a short description. As of now, I'm just copy, just passing the same. And now you can just select the primary input type, whether you just want to select the image data or text data, what you're just trying to use. So for this application, right, obviously we are just trying to use image data, but we are not trying to train our own models, or maybe we are not trying to deal with that. So currently it's not an issue. We're just trying to create a UI module, so you don't need to worry about this. Just let's leave it as default. But maybe for in the future, if you need to train your own models, for example, let's say if you just want to fine tune an image classifier, maybe you have, or maybe for example, let's say if you need to fine tune a llama 2 or maybe an LLM for your own use case, right? In that case, maybe based on your input data, if you're just trying to use the image data, you can just select the image input. Or maybe if you're just trying to fine tune this LLMs, you can just use the text input. So that's how you can just select the input type. And obviously the base workflow, based on the input selected, you will be getting the base workflow pre-imported. So currently we have universal, let's leave it as default. But maybe if you're just trying out with different text inputs, maybe you can just try out the general embedding model that we have and other embedding models. You can just select it. But let's that's for another thing. I'm not gonna go in details. So yeah, that's how you can create an app. App ID, short description, select your input type, set your base workflow, and create your app. This is, I just created a new app, and you can see this is completely empty. I don't have anything in the app. It's pretty new. It's pretty completely empty. And in the left sidebar, you can see we have an option for inputs. We have an option for datasets, where you can just upload your inputs or datasets. The model section, where you can just upload models, or maybe you can train your own models. The workflow section, as Sanwell have showed, you can just chain together multiple models. You can just connect multiple models, and you can just come up with a use case. You can just build a workflow using the UI. So that's what the workflows are. So, and here you have the modules. Let's go to here, modules. Let's click on it. And on the top right, you have the option for create a module. Let's create that. Let's click on that, and yeah, you can see this is the UI where you can just provide all the details in order to create a module. Now, first thing you need to provide is a module ID. It's up to you, like what the ID that you need to give for your module. I'm gonna give like the same, like I'm just using the module to label the data. So I'm gonna give data labeling, and the module description, I'm just passing the same. But you can just give the description of what this module does. You can just give some detailed description, but it's up to you. And you can see here you have an option whether you need to make this module public or private. Let's make it public so that everyone can access it. Maybe you can just even within this project, within the hackathon, right? Maybe you can just share this project with us. You need to make your module public so that maybe we can even access it, and we can just try it out. Maybe you can just check how the module works. So make sure to make your module public when you're just trying to create a module. So I'm just creating the module. You can see we just got an error just mentioning that you must make your app public to make modules public. Obviously, I just created this app. By default, this app will be private. So you need to make this app public in order to make this module public. So you can just go to settings. You can see in the left sidebar, you have an option for settings. Just go there, and here in the here you have the option for app visibility. Just update the visibility. You can see just asking this will make app public. Just confirm it. Now let's get back. Let's get back and create the module again. yeah, like when you're just trying to create a new app, obviously it will be private. So you need to change that when just trying to create a module public. So let's do the same. Data labeling, module description, and then I'm just making the visibility public. You can see it successfully added the module data labeling. Now you need to create a module version. So obviously in order to create the module version, you need to provide the GitHub URL. You can see we just worked on the code, right? We just built everything in my PyCharm. I just defined my page. I just defined the front end. We just checked. We just make sure everything is working fine locally. So once you just make sure everything is fine, you need to push this code to your remote repository. You can see this is the repository, right? This is the repository that we have created by cloning the template, right? Now you need to push, like once you just worked on your project, make sure to push all this code to the repository so that we can actually use this GitHub repository to deploy the module. So in order to create the module version. So yeah, that's what you need to do. Like once you just work on your application locally, just push that to the remote repository. Now, you can see now in order to create the module version, you have to provide the branch URL or maybe the commit URL. You can just provide anything of your repository. Let's get to that. I can see I have my module here. So in order to get your branch URL, you can see. Let's get to the module. So this is how your repository will look like. Now in order to get your branch URL, you can just click on the branch and you can just branch name, this main, and you can see we have the branch URL. Just copy that, or maybe like if you have your commit URL, you have your commits, right? You can just, if you have your commit URL, you can just pass that as well. But currently I'm just passing my branch URL. I just got my code, I just pushed to the remote repository and just copying my branch URL. So this, I'm just copying it here. Where's my page? Yeah. So I'm just passing it here in the GitHub URL link. So you can see I just passed my GitHub branch URL. Now you need to create, in order to create the module version, you need to provide details like the version ID, the module ID. Obviously we have set this as data labeling, and obviously you need to set the sidebar title. The sidebar title, obviously it will help you to see how this module looks, how you just want to title this module in the sidebar, right? Once you just install this module into the app, you will having this module within the sidebar. So you can just specify the title, how the title should be, how you just want this module. Maybe you can just have some detailed description of this sidebar title. Maybe you can just give data labeling using GPT-4 vision. Something like that, right? You can just have some a title, sidebar title. And obviously you need to provide the module version description, what this version does, like what this specific version does. And yeah, the main thing about versions is you can see this is the module version ID is 1. Maybe with the same module you can just create another version. Maybe if you have some other updates in your app, maybe you just push some new changes to your app, maybe you can just get that URL. Maybe you can just create a new version instead of creating a module from scratch again. You can just create a new module version ID within the same module. You can just create a new module version and then work on it. So that's the reason why we have the module versions. And you can see I just define all the things, a sidebar title and the module version description. Let's have it as same. And yeah, you can just leave the metadata thing as of now, like you don't need to worry about that. And obviously even in the module version you need to select whether you need to make that public or private. Let's keep that as public. And now the main section is the environment variables. Obviously for my use case I am using the personal I'm just using the personal access token, which is something that I don't want to share it with everyone. I don't want to share it in my GitHub repositories, or maybe I don't to put that in public. So maybe you can just use this environment variables and secret section. You can just give your maybe the API keys or maybe the personal access token or any other things that you just think of it will help. It is like it should be private, whether you don't want to show it to the users or you don't want to someone to access it. So you can just add those details here. And using the st.secrets, like within the Streamlit, we have a function, a method called secrets, and you can just get these details. Like for example, let's say I have the Clarify personal access token here. You can just access this within the app using that method within the Streamlit, and you can just use that in the backend, right? So within your code. So you can just use this option, like the environment variables and secret section. That's the reason why we have this. And currently, I don't want it, like since I'm just letting the users to upload their personal access token. I'm just not passing it on my GitHub. So I don't want this. But maybe if you need to, obviously, just you will be using this. So just make sure if you have any kind of environment variables or personal access token, like the API keys that you have, you can just store it here. And then obviously I am defining the pages. You can see I have the title first page. You can just define whatever you just want, like the app or what are the page name that you just want. I'm just making it as default, and here I'm just passing my file name first page.py, right? So that's why I just worked on here. So I just worked on my first page.py file. Obviously, if you just worked, or maybe if you just worked on in your app.py file, you can just specify that. Maybe instead of this, you can just specify app.py or any other file that you just worked, you can just give that name. So yeah, I just given my page title and my file name. Now you can select the option. You can see we have an option whether you need to deploy to Clarifai cloud or localhost. Obviously, we need to deploy to the cloud, and we need to make sure everyone can access it. So just select Clarifai cloud here, and then create the module version. You can
Hey,
see.
Simons, I'm sorry for interrupting you. I just wanted to note to you that you have around 5 minutes before the end of the session, hence we have already Q&A session, and we would love people to rethink a bit and then join the Q&A session to ask their questions.
Yeah, it's already done, Alicia. Like that, we are in the final stage. Like we're just deploying the module. Yeah. Just to recap what we just did when creating the module, like just create a new app. In your Clarifai, just go to Clarifai, log into the portal, create a new app, and then go to the module section, create a module. You can specify your module ID, module description. You can just select whether you need to make it public or private, create a module. And obviously, if you are creating the app for the first time, the app will be private. So make sure to change that to public and create the module. And then you need to pass the GitHub URL. So make sure to push the code that you worked locally to the remote repository. And then pass that branch URL, or maybe if you have commit URL, just pass it there. And then I'm just defining my version ID, data labeling, sidebar title, module version description. I'm then selecting whether I need to make that public or private, and then an option for setting the environment variables, and then define my page title and the selecting the Clarifai cloud. It's just pretty straightforward steps, all you need to do within the UI. Just a few clicks, and you need to provide details in order to create a module. That's how simple it is. So just taking time to deploy. It's still taking time to deploy, but before that I would like to, like before the module deploy, like we have done everything before the module deploy, I would like to show you about another use case, right? We have this use case, like obviously you might have heard about RAG. Even the Tonic AI team have shown you what about RAG and how you can validate RAG applications with them. But you can just create this entire retrieval, like the retrieval augmented generation, the RAG applications using Clarifai. Obviously in order to create RAG, right, this is something that most of the LLMs fail for. Like if you just take any kind of LLMs, they don't have knowledge on the current data. If you need, if you want to access your own data to the LLM, like if you just ask questions on your own data, it's not possible. So that's where RAG comes into place, where you can just provide your own data. You can just chat with that. You can just provide your files. You can just chat with the LLM kind of thing. So in order to build this RAG applications, you just required LLMs, embedding models, and vector store. Clarifai provides all these three in a single platform, where you can just try to create the entire RAG application using a single platform. Like you don't need to get the models from some other provider, or you don't need to get the embedding models from some other provider, or you need to get the vector store or the vector database from other provider, right? You have all these three things, and you can just build the RAG applications using Clarifai. And we have the integration with the LangChain as well. So you need to, if you need to explore this for your project, you can just go to clarifai.com/blog, and you can just see we have a blog called AI in fact 5 RAG with PDFs. You can just check out that, and you can just come up with a use case of how you can just build RAG applications using Clarifai, the LLMs, embedding models, and the vector show that we have. And also we have a detailed video in the YouTube where you can just where we have just walked you through how you can just do it, like how to set up the vector store, how to create a new app using the Python SDK, all these details. So you can just go to the YouTube and you can just check. You can see generated question answering with RAG. You can just check this tutorial. So yeah, I hope I just thought to provide you some information on RAG. So maybe you just build the RAG. Maybe if possible, you can just validate this RAG application using Tonic if possible. I'm not sure how it works. I haven't tried it out, but maybe you can just try out Tonic AI as well in order to validate these RAG applications. Let's see whether we have the module deployed. Yeah, we have the module successfully added module version. Let's try to install the module. You can see the bottom, you have the option for install the module. And then now you need to again select whether you need to make module visibility public or private. And you can just click on install it to this app. And you can see I just install it to my app. And let's try to use this module version. You can just click to use the module version. Authorize it. Yeah, you can see this is my app which we have seen locally, and we have deployed it to the cloud, right? So now you can just pass your personal access token. Maybe I can just quickly get my personal access token from here. And I can pass my token here. Let me, don't take much time to respond, like maybe let's wait for the app to respond, give the response, like the image label. Let's see whether it is working or not. I just provided the image URL of a car, and you can see I just got my bounding box and also a label around the car. Maybe if you can see Ferrari 8112. So yeah, that's how you can just build UI modules. Like I hope this session is helpful. Just to summarize what we just built, I've just seen how to access the vision models, the other models using the Python SDK. And then we just seen whether you can just build this, whether you can just use the object detection model, like the GPT-4 vision model for object detection. We just thought like it's not, we can't do it as of now. And then we just come up where we can just use one of the model from the Clarifai platform, and we just integrated with that with the GPT-4 vision model, and we just built an UI module. We just checked it locally whether it's working or not, and we have just deployed it to the cloud. So this is this pretty straightforward approach when you're just trying to create your UI modules. We have a tutorial as well on YouTube. Maybe I can just share it in the Discord channel as well, in the LabLab Discord channel. Maybe you can just go through the video, the things that I just showed in the video in this session, everything which is I covered in the video as well. So if it is too fast, if you can't understand, if it is you have something that you need to clear on, we will be available in the Discord. If you have any questions, feel free to be there. I will be there, and feel free to ask any kind of question. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the session. I hope this is valuable, and yeah.
Thank you so much, Sumans, for this in-depth tutorial. And I see that we have a lot of positive comments on Twitch, and people are grateful for you for this like in-depth overview that they can rewatch afterwards and build their app step by step. Thank you so much for your time and for explaining us the Clarifai platform and building the application itself. Thank you.
Yeah, glad that we have come up, and maybe we are planning for a few Q&A sessions and also some more technical workshops in the next week. So maybe building this kind of RAG applications, we will just cover in those sessions. Like we don't have time to cover in this session. Maybe I'll just walk you through how you can just build a RAG application, maybe chat with PDF kind of application in that session. But maybe let's keep that for another session. But I hope this is value, and thanks very much for joining. Maybe if you have questions, happy to take that. Yeah.
When it comes to questions, guys, hence we don't have time anymore. I'd love to move all the questions to the Q&A session where our mentors and possibly people from Clarifai as well, I'm not sure about Simons, but other people, mentors from Clarifai will be able to answer your questions as well. So feel free to join the session. It will be in 2 minutes. And we are looking forward to see you there in our Discord Q&A stage. And also, if you would have any questions, feel free to use the NextGen, as you might see now on the presentation, the NextGen GPT Hackathon channel. I Need Help channel if you cannot find your own channel that you need to. Writing and then mentor tag as well would be helpful for you. And feel free to reach out to our mentors and the team for any kind of support. And just remember that you still can be approved till Wednesday, so feel free to register, create your Clarifai profile, and participate in the hackathon. Thank you so much for the stream, and thanks so much for all of our speakers today that brought a lot of value to hackathon participants to kickstart their journey with the hackathon. And we'll see you later in our Discord server.